What's up everyone? I've had a lot of requests recently to make more lo-fi guitar tutorials and specifically stuff about lo-fi soloing. So this video is going to be 3 chord progressions that I use in lo-fi hip hop, and I'm going to break down how I'm playing them, and then on the last one I'm going to talk a bit about how I'd approach it solo wise and some tips to make your soloing sound a bit more lo-fi. A lot of you have been asking for a soloing tutorial, so this is the first one and there will be more, but do let me know in the comments down below what you want to see more of, if it's sort of basic theory or breakdown of licks that I use in guitar solos, or maybe something about tone, I don't know, but please let me know in the description down below what you like. And I'm also going to be dropping the samples from the guitar loops, a free download, they're going to be royalty free, in the description down below. So that'll be the drum loop I'm using for the demos and the guitar chord and the solos. So yeah, I'm just going to demo the 3 chords, tell you how I play them, and then the last one will be going over some solo tips. But yeah, please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, here it goes. So this first chord progression consists of 4 chords, and it's in 72 BPM for the demo, and they're all going to be 72 BPM if you're using the samples for anything. So the first chord is a pretty typical F minor 9 voicing. So I'm not playing the E string, and then the A, I'm playing the 8th fret with my middle finger, and then with my index finger I'm playing the 6th fret on the D, then 8 on the G, 8 on the B. I'm sort of using the whammy on this one, just slightly. And for all these as well, if you're interested, I'm playing with the humbucker and the single coil middle pickup in position 2 on the Strat. And then for the F minor 9, we're going to a slightly more unusual chord, which is an A sharp 11 sus 2. So the way I'm playing this is I'm using my thumb on the low E on the 6th fret, and then muting the A string, 6th fret on the D string, 5th fret on the G string, and then 4th fret on the B string. But you could also play this with your pinky on the D string there, and then you can then use your ring finger on the low E if you're not comfortable with the thumb. So it's the F minor 9, A sharp 11 sus 2, and then the third chord is a pretty typical E flat major 9 voicing. So what I'm playing here is not playing the E string on the A string, 6th fret, and I'm doing that with my middle finger. On the D string it's 5th fret, doing that with my index finger. On the G string it is the 7th fret, I'm playing that with my pinky. And then lastly on the B string it's 6th fret again. But if you sort of bar with your index finger, you can do this little hammer on with the pinky. So just barring, just add a bit of flavour to the chord, and then from there it's going over to a G sharp major 7 chord, and the voice I'm using is this one. So again I'm playing with my thumb on the low E, and then muting the A, and then so it's 4th fret low E, muting the A, 5th fret on the D string, 5th fret on the G string, and then 4th fret on the B string. And I'm just playing those notes. Again, you can play with your finger and bar like that if you want to, or with your thumb. So yeah, that's that one. And then for soloing, I'm soloing with the C minor pentatonic scale. So yeah, on to the next demo. So again, this one was 72 BPM, and this one the key is E flat minor, and I'm playing again 4 chords, starting off with a G sharp minor 7, and the way I'm playing this is with my thumb on the 4th fret, muting the A string, and then 4th fret on the D, 4th fret on the G, 4th fret on the B. Really nice voice in this one. Your sort of hands are free to do a lot with this. So if you want to jazz up the chords, you're sort of, if you're playing it with thumb and then fingers like that, you got your hand free to play other notes with as well. And if you're not comfortable doing that, you can play just barring it. If you're playing with your hands, obviously if you're doing strumming with a fret with a pick, then you're going to want to make sure that you're muting the A string. But generally, the way I play lo-fi is with my hand, because you get a softer tone, and I just think it fits the vibe a bit better, and you've got more control over where you're just plucking the strings. So yeah, that's the first chord, and then we're just sliding that up 2 frets to make a B flat minor 7, which is again 6, muting the A, 6, 6, 6, muting the low E, or the high E. And then from there, we're going to a E flat minor 9, which is the same voicing as we used in the first chord progression, muting the low E, then 6th fret on the A string, 4th fret on the D string, then 6, 6 on the G and the B string. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 with the E flat minor 7 this time, E flat minor 9, E flat minor 7. And with the E flat minor 7, I'm muting the low E, playing the 6th fret on the A string, 8th fret on the D string, 6th fret on the G string, and then B string is 7th fret, 6th fret on the high E string. So it sounds pretty cool, hammering from the F on the B string to the F sharp, and then the next go round it's the same progression again, except for instead of going to the E flat minor 9, we're going straight to the E flat minor 7, and then put my pinky there on the 9th fret on the high E string, which is still a E flat minor 7, because we're just playing the D flat, which we're already playing here. So yeah, that's chord 2, and then next on to demo 3. So this chord progression was a very simple one. It's not playing any crazy jazz, neo soul extended chords. It's just basically playing 3 triad chords. So B minor triad, D major, and then G major. So if you've watched my second guitar tutorial I did for Lo-Fi Hip Hop, I talked a lot there about using triad chords rather than just your standard bar chord. If you play it as a triad, and especially if you're finger picking as well. To me it sounds a lot better, especially for this sort of application in Lo-Fi Hip Hop. I think it fits really nicely. So yeah, this particular voicing of the B minor chord is playing the 1, the B, 7th fret on the low E, not playing the A string, 4th fret on the D string, which is the 5, and then 7th fret on the G string, which is the 3, which makes it a 1, 5, 3. So it's effectively playing the 3 notes that are the building block for the B minor chord, the B, F sharp, D. We're playing this a more sort of spread way. I think you'd call it a spread triad. The next chord what I'm doing is moving from the 7th fret on the low E to the 5th fret on the low E, and making that a D major. Rather than playing the B, I'm playing the A. Finally, to the G major chord, playing the G, 3rd fret on the E string, and then on the A string, the 5th fret, mute the D, 4th fret on the G string. So we're left with this. And then you notice that in the demo I played the G major, and then I used my pinky on the 7th fret, which is a bit of a stretch, on the G string to play the D. Just to transition back into the B minor. So lastly, I just wanted to talk a bit about soloing. It's been a quite heavily requested video, making more information about soloing in Lo-Fi Hip Hop. So this is going to be a sort of first top level overview of some tips and some areas that I think you should focus on if you want to improve your soloing in Lo-Fi Hip Hop. It's going to be assuming that you've got sort of basic knowledge of, say, the pentatonic scale and how to find the right key to solo in and that sort of thing. If you want more tutorials on that theory side of things, please do let me know in the comments down below. But there will be more content to come soloing wise. So the first thing is a lot of people asking about how I'm getting my tone when I'm soloing and that sort of thing. So I predominantly solo with my fingers rather than a pick. So I usually play with sort of down strokes of my thumb, up strokes of my finger. And I've not really got any nails, so it's quite soft anyway. So compared to a pick, it's a much softer tone, which sort of for me means that I can add a bit more saturation, and a little bit of distortion on the top end without it being too heavy. It just gets sort of a nice fuzz rather than being too sharp if I'm using a pick. But there are still times when I might go to the pick if I'm doing some more quick licks. But yeah, I mean generally I'm using my fingers, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is trying to focus on getting quite a mixed dynamic range. So meaning that I want different sort of variants in volume and in tone. So when I'm playing I won't just sort of stick to the same volume levels and picking strength. I'll try and vary it a bit so it can start. So it could start like quite quiet and soft and then build up to like heavier licks and then back down again, and it's sort of adapting to whatever I'm playing it over a lo-fi beat that I'm making. It's adapting to the song, playing heavy and louder when it sort of suits, but otherwise softer in terms of picking. And then as well as that, if you say are quite comfortable playing within one pentatonic box, I'd recommend starting to not necessarily learn every shape of the pentatonic scale across the neck, but maybe learn relative to the box that you're playing in, little areas that you can move to. For example, if I'm playing with the A minor pentatonic, I can slide up from the B string on the 8th fret to the 10th fret, and at the 10th fret I've got this box which guitar players like B.B. King use a lot. So then I can slide into this box and I'm starting to spread across the neck more. And once you're comfortable with one box, you can move on to the next. There's also a little area that I like to use on the low E, which is, say, sliding in from the A string 5th fret down to the A string 3rd fret. There's this little box here I often like to use. And if you learn all the shapes of the pentatonic scale, then there's more for you to work with. But yeah, I mean, you can just sort of learn little areas relative to the main shape, which is how I started. So yeah, trying to spread it out across the neck a little bit more adds sort of a more interesting solo to your beats, which is sort of applicable to all genres. But I find that it's particularly important when I'm doing lo-fi solo. So I'm often using this lick as an example in the box on the 3rd fret. So that's 3rd on the E, 5th on the E, 3rd on the A, 5th on the E, 3rd on the A, and slide from 5 to 7 on the A string, and then you're back. The sort of most common A minor pentatonic box position, and then alternatively you can do a similar thing down on the D string and G string to slide into the sort of B.B. King box. So that's sort of two ways you can use those boxes and work them in. And then on top of this, one thing that I use a lot is sort of passing chords that aren't actually in the pentatonic scale, and if you were to sort of emphasize them, they wouldn't sound right, but in the sort of context of a solo it works quite well. So that could be, for example, on the G string you've got this C, D to D sharp. The D sharp, if you emphasize it, doesn't work, but if you're sort of sliding in, gives it sort of a jazzy feel. And again, from the other side, C, D, you've got the B, which isn't in the pentatonic scale, but you can slide up. So even without sort of knowledge of scales and what would fit, just play around with these extra little notes on the pentatonic scale. Can work quite well. Yeah, and lastly, I wanted to mention as well is trying to remember not to overcrowd the solo. I think specifically like mellow beats, if you're just playing constantly, not leaving any space for the track to breathe, doesn't really work. So by that I mean, if you're soloing, you don't need to be playing, leave time for the track to breathe and leave sort of spaces and silence, which then emphasise when you are playing, and it doesn't sort of become background noise because you're just playing constantly and there's no sort of break and rest for the track, and it can also overpower the track as well. So try and stay focused on that. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. The next videos will be going over some more specific licks for lo-fi guitar, but for now I hope those sort of overview tips of what I'm thinking about when I'm playing were helpful. But yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.